Is it September 12th?
13th, sir.
Oh God, I'm the wrong date. 13th?
Yes, sir.
Oh God, I hate this.
No, look, it's going everywhere. Hang on. So nobody got it wrong. No, look, it's everywhere.
One everyday item uniquely captures Queen Elizabeth's 70 years on the throne. Money. There are currently 4.7 billion banknotes and 29 billion coins in circulation in the UK, with the Queen's face front and center.
The image is almost like a logo now, isn't it, of the UK and the state.
But now, as Charles takes the reign, currency, along with several other items, stand to change.
Basically, the biggest things is probably going to be the currency.
Here's why updating money may be a longer process than some of the other items that bear her name. After 7 decades, the Queen's presence is deeply ingrained in the UK, seen tangibly on stamps and post boxes, even on cookie and gin labels. Currency is a longer process, as the previous precedent shows.
Coins for the new reign will shortly be turned out in quantity at the Royal Mint. Let's hope you'll soon get some.
Elizabeth became queen in 1952, with her coronation the following year. Coins in the UK began showing Elizabeth's portrait in 1953, according to the Royal Mint, the nation's coin supplier. But it wasn't until 1956 that the Bank of England received permission from the UK Treasury to use the Queen's portrait on a banknote. And it was another 4 years before the public saw the first note in hand. While there's a long history of monarchs featured on coins, this made her the first British royal to have a photo featured on paper bills. Since Elizabeth's first note, the bank has revised it several times, adding new security features and updating the Queen's image. Most recently, in an effort to extend the lifespan of its currency, the bank began printing polymer notes rather than paper ones. That transition began in 2016 and will be complete by the end of September this year. Meanwhile, the latest coin in the UK was unveiled in 2015. The Royal Mint worked with the Queen on 5 portraits, with the latest created by artist Jodie Clark.
Quite a lot of departments sort of.
Australia is just one of many Commonwealth countries whose currency bears the Queen's image, but that doesn't guarantee Charles will take her place on those currencies.
Does Canada, does Australia, does New Zealand, does Belize still feel a need or interest in putting the king on its currency? Does it want to update the Queen? Most of Canada's currency has phased out the Queen, for instance, but they do leave her on the 20.
Andrew Lee, Australia's Assistant Prime Minister for Treasury, reiterated this point in a recent press conference.
As I understand it, the decision to include the Queen's face in the $5 note was about her personally rather than about her status as a monarch, so that transition isn't automatic.
The Royal Australian Mint said that coins featuring the Queen will remain legal currency, but they will not release any new ones with her image in 2023. Still, with 15 billion coins featuring the Queen in circulation, and only 110 million new coins minted a year in Australia, coins featuring the Queen will remain in circulation for many years to come. Other Commonwealth countries have said they plan to continue using the Queen's image, like the Reserve Bank in New Zealand and the Bank of Canada. The Bank of England hasn't given any insight into its timeline for a note featuring Charles, but it assured the public that current notes featuring the Queen will continue to be legal tender. The Royal Mint already offers coins that feature King Charles on its website, though these coins were made for his birthdays and are not in circulation. As for how Charles' portrait may look, some have said that he will face left since the Queen faced right.
The short answer is tradition, because you alternate sides, apparently, here in terms of which way the monarch is facing on the currency.
More details are expected from the Bank of England following the 10-day mourning period.
History in the making, quite literally. These are the first coins featuring King Charles III. And these 50 pence pieces also pay a special tribute to his mother. The reverse is a replica of the coin produced to celebrate her coronation back in 1953.
So anyone under 50 will only have ever seen Queen Elizabeth II on their coin. So significant moment today where we're putting a new monarch into that circulation. It was quite common for male monarchs not to wear a crown on their coinage. It happened to his father, his grandfather. When they were on coinage, there was no crown.
If you're particularly observant, you'll notice that His Majesty is facing the opposite direction to Queen Elizabeth II on the coins that we currently use. That is in keeping with tradition when there's a new monarch. The portrait was designed by sculptor Martin Jennings using photos and was personally approved by the King.
It has to be an image that will persist over the years and that will represent the generality of what people imagine monarchy to be about. So it's not just a portrait of him, it needs to contain the role.
We'll still have coins with the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II. They'll only be replaced once they're worn or damaged. But you won't have to wait long for these, which could start appearing in your change in December. Becky Cottrell, Sky News, the Royal Mint. History in the making, quite literally. These are
freshly minted and coming to a till near you. The new 50p's, the first of the Carolean coins. For now, they're under tight security. You need special permission just to touch one. But they'll circulate alongside the Queen's coins, which won't be withdrawn. Keeping the currency current is a significant moment. Martin was the man charged with creating the image and getting everything in proportion, knowing eventually his work would end up in millions of pockets and piggy banks.
You don't want to make it, for example, too cheerful, because this is a very serious symbol, and yet it needs to be light enough to put across his humanity. It's getting in the subtlest of possible ways those emotions rather than, as it were, ears or nose.